Okay, YouTube homies, I guess we're gonna do what is called a haul, or we're gonna let you know what my food and meal plan looks like. So, just got home from work on Mondays, and I get deliveries on Mondays because I order on Friday. So this is what it looks like. Shout out to Eat Clean Chicago here. These people are awesome. I order every week. This is not a sponsored video. This is just people that I choose to use, and they're fantastic. So I've just stuck with what works. Just like any kind of diet or nutrition plan, if it works for you, do not deviate. All right, let's start unpacking kind of what we have here. I try to mix it up a little bit. I usually get 2 of my meals per day from these folks, so you gotta think it's probably 14 meals a week. I kind of make some of my other meals, but these are pre-planned, and if you cannot meal plan or prep on your own and you can get a good food delivery service like this, I highly recommend it. It makes your nutrition plan and your diet a lot easier to stick to, okay? So first off, what we have on here is chicken caprese pesto. I don't know if I should get a little close up here. Let's pop this open. This is kind of a lower carb solution for you here. This has got chicken breast here, some tomato, cheese, a little bit of pesto, and some grilled Brussels sprouts, all right? So this is kind of a lower carb option. It's 473 calories. It's 51 grams of protein, 11 carbs, and only 25 grams of fat. So I get a few of these right now coming off in the summer to kind of stay tightened up. I don't like to have a lot of carbs at the end of the day, or at least if I do, I don't want them high glycemic. So we'll take a look at some of my other options here. If you want a good red meat meal, I stick to this. I kind of come back every now and then. This is the steak sweet potato meal, all right? This is, I think, just grilled sirloin. They slice it up. It's 542 calories, 52 grams of protein, a little bit more carbs, 37 carbs, and some more fat because that fat comes with that red meat, all right? We're gonna seal these containers off really good here, all right? You get your steak right here, and just a scoop or a serving of sweet potatoes, all right, done up, and some asparagus in here, all right? This is really a good low carb rounded meal, high in protein, and you get a little bit of like bone marrow sauce to dip it in. Keeps you kind of tight, kind of gives a flavor a little bit to the steak, all right? So I get a few of these steak meals as well. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. It just kind of feels like, you know, whatever I want. I try to mix it up. You got to make your food good and you got to mix it up a little bit. Nobody is a perfect disciplinarian. You can't eat bland chicken and rice or like veggies all day. You got to try to make it taste a little bit good. It's all about controlling portions, all right? So got another steak one right here. Kind of mixes it up for my dinner meals. I had to round out the diet plan, so I did go back to the chicken. I don't get this very often, but it is a good go-to and good staple. It looks like they've got it sliced up chicken here with some peppers, onions a little bit. It looks like you got some French green beans, a little bit of fruit pico, and I believe this is brown rice, okay? So this is a pretty rounded out meal. It's pretty healthy. If you notice, all these things are really portioned well on all these meals. To get and give you a breakdown, this is a little bit on the lighter side. It's 440 calories, 50 grams of protein, 34 grams of carbs, and just 8.5 grams of fat. So notice all these meals are kind of statically around that 50 to 45 grams of protein. And that's what I try to get about every meal if possible. If I'm dieting, I try to break that up into about 4 meals. If I'm trying to maintain, I'll go up to 5. And then if I'm trying to add or put on a little bit of mass, I'll go up to 6 or maybe even 7 meals, depending on how I'm feeling and how much weight I'm putting on at that time. So I got a couple of these this time. They're good go-tos. Like I said, not the best on flavor, but I still go to them because they're all right, all right? Now, to my favorite. This is my go-to lunch right now. We had it in another video. I used to get the turkey muffin, which was like my fantastic, I loved it, and they discontinued it and replaced it with this. So I was a little bit disappointed, but I went ahead and took a risk and got this, and now I'm happy they've gotten to it. It's great. This is Take It Easy Turkey. It is 518 calories, 44 grams of protein, 54 carbs because you get that rice serving in there, and 14 grams of fat. So it is a pretty much lean meat, not a lot of fat. You do get your carbs and protein in there, all right? Let's go ahead and zoom in and see how we can get this. This is just, looks like ground up turkey, a little bit of olive oil. I think it's got garlic in it I can taste. peas, carrots, and then just basically the white jasmine rice, this long grain rice. I like this rice. I don't necessarily have to have that go-to brown rice that people kind of push. It's just whatever digests well. And I feel like this really gets through my system well. It's great for lunch, and I get it digested by the time I come home.
It's disgusting.
It's not disgusting. And I tell you, I put enough Frank's Red Hot on here to drown my 3-year-old child, and it is great. It is, I absolutely love it. I'm sure people come into my office after I'm done eating this, and I'm sniffling and wiping my nose. It probably looks like I'm in there doing drugs, because I absolutely just douse this in Frank's Red Hot. I love that shit. I put it on everything. I swear to God, if you're dieting, that is your best friend. That or some Louisiana hot sauce, anything to give you a little bit of flavor.
So what you're saying is you like Frank's Red Hot, none of that other shit you just showed us.
Correct. I like Frank's Red Hot and then whatever else I put it on. So that kind of rounds it out. I do get 5 of these. I eat these every day for lunch. Most of my diet is pretty static. It kind of looks redundant and repetitive, but it's important to stick with what works. That way I know what my weight is doing and how my body's responding, what works well and what doesn't. I really kind of hate to use the word diet per se. It's more whatever your nutrition plan is, because diet comes up with a lot of things. You're not always trying to lose weight, not always trying to gain weight, but what I am trying to do is keep a good beat on my nutritional plan and what works well for me. Because what works well for me may not what works well for you, and what you're trying to achieve. What is your goal and what are you trying to obtain? Right now, this is what works for me, and I use it. I love to have a meal prep service, or if you can, meal prep yourself. You get a whole lot of Tupperware and start cooking. I used to do that too. Jessica remembers it. It was always a fun Sunday getting all that stuff out. But it is the best way to keep track of your diet and keep control. Because if you're a true fat kid at heart, like I am, I will straight up eat a whole jar of peanut butter if I have nothing to go to and nothing prepared. So this is definitely the way to go. I highly suggest you do it. Eat Clean Chicago, not sponsored, but if you're in the area, I would definitely suggest going to their site. They're great. They've got a discount code. They sponsor the men's Olympia physique competitor, Brandon Hickson. He is pretty awesome. So obviously if it's good enough for him and it's good enough for me, it should be good enough for you. So I think this pretty much rounds out what I get from my meal prep service. We can kind of go over what the rest of the diet is. We have a question from the audience.
So if you were just trying to lose, say, like 20 pounds, but you don't want to do any of this, what would be a really good suggestion for you? Like, say I want to lose 20 pounds.
Okay, I suggest, first of all, eat less.
Yeah.
All right, let's reduce the portion. You don't necessarily have to eat like this. If you want some good guidelines or something to kind of wrap around, your first thing you go to when you try to develop a meal plan is where are you getting your protein from and how many meals are you going to have. Okay, if I know I'm going to get a little bit of my meat, which is ground meat, burger, turkey, fish, however you want to get it, eat that first. Figure out what that is first, and then figure out what your side's going to be. Do you want a little bit of potatoes? Heck, you can even have a few French fries if you just portion it right. All right, and then you need to spread those meals out throughout the day, and that way you're not always desperately hungry, because when you're hungry, you grab anything you can go to, and that is the wrong answer. All right, you never want to be totally full, and you never want to be starving, unless you're about to get on stage and you're a competitor, which I'm sure a lot of you probably aren't. If you're an everyday average person and have a job, the idea is to have a well-rounded nutrition plan. If you want to diet down, get your protein first, tighten up on your carbs. Does it mean go no carb? I do not suggest that, and that is the last thing you should pull out is go no carb. All right, because it's not sustainable. I like the keto diet. It has its place in time in a nutritional plan, but it is not sustainable for the everyday person. You just cannot do it, all right? I do not think that. That is my philosophy. You can either buy it or sell it or take it what it's worth. That's what I think, all right? So what I would kind of do is try to get you something centered around your protein, your side, and you can never go wrong with some veggies or some fruit. Nobody ever got fat by eating too many apples or that extra banana before bed. If you got a sweet tooth, get some extra fruits, get some berries. They will stave you off, all right? So it makes it doable. Food has got to taste good. Season it. Get a good selection. It's got to have balance. If you stick to those few guidelines, drink lots of water, don't drink your calories, don't drink juice, don't go down to that Starbucks and get that huge latte because you took that extra lap around the block. If you're trying to lose weight, don't drink your calories, folks, all right? So anything else from the audience?
No, we're good.
We're all good? Okay, so that's gonna be our questions for the day. This is the food haul. We can kind of break it up. I will mix it up as my diet does change and we can kind of see what kind of other meals they come up with, or what kind of meals we make at home, like protein pancakes, my new kick on omelets with pico and a little bit of tortilla. It can always be fun. Food can be fun, and you can still lose weight, and you can take care of yourself, and you can get the body you want. Food is not the enemy, all right? So folks, don't starve yourselves. Don't eat like a glutton. Find balance. That's the key to life. That's the key to getting it done. If you do that, you will get results. All right? Deuces.